Hey everyone, before I play the Skinwalker Ranch segment from the previous podcast, I wanted to talk about that 1.6 gigahertz signal. And I went over to Twitter to take a look to see if I could find more information, and I did. And this comes from a UAPX account, and they are writing, there has been a lot of talk about the strange 1.6 gigahertz signal at Skinwalker Ranch. Yes, Travis Taylor told us UAPX, a specific frequency to look for during our Catalina expedition. Yes, we saw it. We saw a similar at SWR as well. So that Catalina investigation was that William Shatner documentary, A Terror in the Sky. And he goes on to say that while the presence of the signal isn't necessarily anomalous, because that frequency can be used for, it's pretty close to like GPS satellites and medical devices and video transmissions, especially at 1600 megahertz. At least that's what he wrote here. He's more concerned about the data inside that frequency. And I guess that maybe didn't come across, or at least I didn't hear that come across in the Skinwalker Ranch season. But they do see that frequency pop up when they see UFO activity. Hopefully that makes everything more confusing for everyone. So here is the Skinwalker Ranch segment. Thanks, everyone. And if you want full podcast episodes, you want full video podcast episodes, go to obdmpod.com or check all the links in the description of this video. YouTube does not like us. They haven't liked us for quite a while. So please subscribe to the podcast, and thanks for tuning in. Bye. It was the final episode of Skinwalker Ranch Season 3, and I captured some clips. They didn't want me to capture the clips, but I did. And this is the final evidence. This is the evidence that they are presenting to not only the nation, but the actual governor of Utah, where Skinwalker Ranch is located. So they're in this room. They got the governor. They got the owner of the ranch, Brandon Fugel. They got the ranch manager, and they also have George Knapp, noted author, host of Coast to Coast AM on certain days, and investigative reporter. So they're all in the room. They're presenting evidence, and they got this first little piece here where they did a brand new image mapping of the entire ranch, where they're piecing together all these little points of data. I think they're using some kind of LiDAR or something. And so they can get a topological 3D rendering of the entire ranch. And when they did this, they detected some anomalies about 100 feet off the ground, maybe even 300 feet off the ground, and this long string of weird points that, when rendered, it just looks like a black piece of smoke that's just kind of elongated. They don't know what it is, and there's two of these things. One is over the mesa. The other one is pretty close to a circular rock formation that Native Americans have noted is a sacred site. So here is them talking about this.
The day after Pete Kelsey conducted his photogrammetry scan of the ranch, he sent Eric all of his compiled data files for us to review.
Well, I've got only about 1 billion data points. Of course, this comes out of Pete Kelsey's recent survey work. This is a three-dimensional model. It's point cloud data. What it is individual points that have been located through a complex algorithm coming out of all these thousands of pictures that he's taken. So you take all those images, you stitch them together, and you get a three-dimensional model.
That's incredible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I've been diving into this, and turns out there are some very interesting artifacts showing up.
Whoa.
You might...
I just saw
Did you
one.
see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the sky.
Oh,
right there.
Yes.
Oh, weird.
Yes.
That looks like that's a whole bunch of points right there.
Oh, it is.
Well, what would cause it to do that if that's up in the air?
That's the question. Look at this structure. This phantom structure that's sticking up in the sky.
This is odd. I got to tell you,
There it
wow, I think it was really prominent from here. It's like it's
Yeah.
some sort of big feature.
It looks more than 100 feet in the air.
So another anomaly. They don't know what it is. Then they move on to talk about that weird signal at the 1.6, I think it's megahertz. They reached out to a few people to confirm if maybe other people have noticed this. There is another UFO investigation group, I believe, in the West Coast that confirmed that they have picked up the signal when UFOs or UAPs are sighted. They also talked to Luis Elizondo from ATIP. He confirmed that, in fact, that they did measure a signal right around that when these weird aerial phenomenon happen. So they don't really know what it means. Other people have speculated that the 1.6 megahertz range is used for signal jamming. And it may be of terrestrial origin, but it's used to jam signals or obfuscate other signals. So they don't really know what it is, but it's a data point that seems to occur every time these UFOs happen. Now, they were digging through parts of the mesa to try to get to this cavernous interior that they think is there. They think that there's some sort of large object in this mesa, so they hired this drilling company to drill right in the side of this bugger, and they got about 300 to 400 feet in, and they hit something. They hit something metallic, and as the material was coming out, they got the weird wafer-like metallic substance analyzed. And here's them talking about this strange material.
Eric reached out to the local university here and had them do an analysis with a scanning electron microscope and do precise elemental analysis makeup of this material. The interesting thing about the analysis that we got, tellurium is only on one side, and europium, which is on the other side. Now, tellurium and europium are two of the most rare materials on the planet, and it was fused.
Can that happen naturally?
If it were going to be made on Earth, it would have to be done deep under the crust, miles deep in a geological process. There's no volcanic processes happening there on the ranch or in the Uinta Basin that we know of. The only other natural way to create this would be an asteroid impact. But what we're missing from this asteroid is we're missing nickel, we're missing iridium, we're missing some other things that would be there if it were an asteroid.
This bears a lot of resemblance to things that were made in a furnace, as if this is perhaps an engineered material.
You remember the space shuttle tiles that protected it from heat on re-entry? This material makeup is very similar to that ceramic.
So the governor is sitting there listening, and they present one final piece of evidence, and this happened on one of the last experiments where they had these 2 or 3 giant laser beams shooting up into an apex about 3,000 feet over the ranch where they believe an anomaly is. And as they were doing this, they were going to shoot a giant rocket straight through these lasers to try to provoke a reaction and get some measurements and collect some data. The rocket kind of misfired. It didn't work out the way they hoped. They fired another one. But when they reviewed some of the footage, they saw a UFO appear. And it was a bright ball of light that appeared, and it disappeared. It zigged in and then it zigged out. And as it was zigging out, it almost kind of dissipated or phased into some sort of portal, or it cloaked and disappeared. And this is them talking about this final piece of evidence and then their theory about what may be going on.
This is through the lens of a camera that is tasked with surveying the skies. And I'll draw your attention to this part of the screen. Clearly we have an object, something luminous, moving towards the apex of that configuration of lasers being broadcast upward from the triangle.
And it just goes away.
Yeah.
Wow. What is the theory of what the explanation could be?
Well, what if some of the stories that we keep hearing about from the ancient native tribes and petroglyphs, that from all different kinds of folks that have been to the ranch, that there's a portal access on the ranch? What if that's true? It could be what we just saw.
This may be a particular point of interest for a wormhole or a Stargate, some type of interstellar interaction.
One of the stories that's been told from the Sherman and Bigelow era that caught the attention of the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, was about a hole in the sky. Call it a portal. The rancher would see these things open up. It's dusk here, it's afternoon over there. It's like you're looking in through a hole in the sky to another place.
Aliens!
So that is it. Their best theory right now is that there is some sort of portal where these objects are coming in and out of. This is their avenue. This is their doorway. This is their port, and they're using it. And sometimes those legends, those myths are true, is what they're saying. So I like that they're indulging in some of the Native American folklore and tales, and they're taking it serious. And they got some pretty interesting footage. Whether or not it is good enough for some people, that's left to be seen. One of those people that, for whatever reason now, Joe, is on my radar is Mick West. Ever since we talked about Mick West the last podcast, and I checked out his interview and in conversation with Eric Weinstein, now I'm just being fed Mick West tweets over and over again. And now I start looking at his tweets, and I start to get frustrated because, in my opinion, Mick West is a shitfucker, and I don't know what to do about it.
I honest to goodness, like I said, with the chemtrail shit, like again, it's all this straw man shit, and the guy is a prick. He's a total prick.
So he, just to reiterate, he had a conversation with Eric Weinstein, and Eric Weinstein, very respected scientist. He's new to the UFO topic. I believe politely and respectfully asked Mick West to stop being such a shithead. Those are my words. He basically, hey Mick, could you please be a little nicer to people that want to come forward with UFO evidence, so they don't feel so apprehensive presenting this pretty far out there, what used to be considered nonsensical stories, so we can collect the data and see what's true or not. Now, Mick West, I think he pretty much said, okay, you know what, I will do my best as long as you do your best. And so as of like a couple hours ago, this is from the 15th, Mick West, hold on, maybe I got to bring this back up on screen. It did not bring up here. So let me bring this back up on screen. Mick West tweeted out, now that he's in my timeline, he tweeted out saying this: the UFO community complains of stigma, alien jokes, and general incredulity, preventing serious...
Incredulity.
I
don't give a shit. Whatever.
Wrong.
Preventing serious research. There's some truth to that, but perhaps scientists also see the vitriol and mockery poured on more skeptical investigators like myself and decide it's not for them. I've got a
Rocky Mountain West. I just want to say, yeah, I know. Isn't that fucked up? He says Mike's still going on FARC. I see.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I go there for some strange news stories.
2001, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do. I go to farc.com to collect some news stories and to see how the other side lives. But then Mick West finishes up with this. I got a thick skin. It's not affecting me. And I know a lot of it comes from personal experience. But why are you, hashtag UFO Twitter, possibly contributing to the very thing you bemoan? Will scientists come into the field where they get attacked if they give the wrong answer? And so,
that's not how science works.
Listen, these scientists are very sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would say to Mick, and I really debated even replying to this, is that for the past 70 years, mainstream news and this mainstream science have made fun of people with UFO experiences, calling them crazy, psychotic, wrong, making up these stories for attention over and over and over and over again. And now that Mick West, is involved in researching UFOs, he wants to put it on the UFO community to be nicer to the group of people who make fun of them. that Mick West wants the group that have been made fun of and ridiculed for decades to be the bigger person and accept that some of these scientists will ultimately make fun of them and diminish their experiences, and they should just do it if you want serious scientific research involved instead of them being the bigger person. I mean,
I want to. Who's going to this guy for anything? Like this is now ethical advice.
Yes, it is. He's telling UFO people or hashtag UFO Twitter how to act if they want the subject to be taken seriously. And if they don't act a certain way, maybe scientists won't even get into the field to research it because these scientists are super sensitive.
They're so scared.
Now, I understand there's gatekeepers in every community. There's gatekeepers in the metal community. There are people that are upset that Metallica had their song in Stranger Things. There's people that are upset that Star Wars is not the way they think it should be. There's people that are upset that
I'm that guy. I'll keep the shit out of that.
Listen, I'm every one of these people, but we do an entertainment show and we make fun of everything. Mick West, who is trying to seriously, well, he's debunking UFO experiences and quote unquote UFO experiences.
Is he though?
I don't know. He has been given an opportunity to visit Skinwalker Ranch and maybe experience some of the phenomenon that has been going on there. Some of the evidence that we played here, at least some of the claims, and he hasn't done it yet. You would imagine if you're a serious researcher, you would jump at the chance to go out there. A podcast associate, a friend of mine, Tony from the Confessionals, he used his own money to not even go to Skinwalker Ranch, but go to the property next door because he likes the topic so much. And you'd figure Mick West would jump at the chance to seriously investigate all the happenings out there so he could debunk it and call the other people there crazy, lunatic, maybe just doing it for money and promotion. But he hasn't done it yet. So we need to get a GoFundMe for Mick West to go to Skinwalker Ranch and live there for 1 month and report back.
Okay, but he has to fly coach.
Okay. On Kwanzaa.
We know he doesn't have a job. Apparently, all he does for a living is debunk things. Like, what the fuck does he do for a living? Does he have a Wikipedia?
Let's see here. This is
the British science writer, skeptical investigator, and retired video game programmer.
Yes, that's him. Yeah.
So no, he doesn't have a Wikipedia.
Well, he runs metabunk.org. And
Metabunk.
Metabunk.org.
And it's an organization. This is serious, everybody.
I was going to say that sounds like a name of a gay porno.
You know what? For like a video game programmer, you'd imagine he would know some front end developers, so the site wouldn't look like it was WordPress from 1995.
Like Fark.
It looks awful. No, Fark is a better designed website than this.
Just give it
fuck.
Shit.
I don't know, man.
How dare you say that about Fark?
They're both like toilet fodder.
All right.
And you know I like to throw my trash in the toilet.
I know that. So, I mean, I don't really want to pick on Mick West, but I will continue to do so for the next 10 minutes. Would you have a conversation with him, Joe?
We had a Twitter back and forth, and that's it. And he is unrelenting. Like, he will just pound. You will send him something, and it's just like, send the same picture over and over and say, this is a good day. Like, he's a fucking, he's the shilliest shill. He's king of the shills.
Would you be opposed to having him on the show?
No.
Okay.
Actually, I would rather get in the octagon with him. I don't like this guy. Yeah, I don't like this guy.
All right. Because I've been thinking about
sorry,
reaching
Joe,
out.
I just saw that image you sent me. I'll put that up.
I've been thinking about
the reason I sent Kretsched this image. He has it on screen right now. It is the mark of an educated mind to entertain a thought without accepting it. Mick West is the exact opposite of that. He's like, fuck you, fuck your ideas, fuck your evidence, fuck everything. I'm Mick West, and I decide what real is for everybody.
To a certain degree, I can appreciate that assholishness. But when it comes down to like certain these subjects, and that it is very tough to collect evidence for UFO related topics and the paranormal in general. The experiences are very fleeting. They can last 1 to 5 seconds. And yeah, technically, there should be more evidence that the public has. But everything that's collected so far is what we have. We don't know what evidence has been collected by the government and just hasn't been presented to the public. I imagine quite a bit. If the stories are true, at least from Gary McKinnon, the hacker from the UK, and what he found on NASA servers, if those are even half true, then there is a considerable amount of evidence that has been withheld from the public and people like Mick West. Now, even if Mick West went to Skinwalker Ranch and had these incredible experiences, and he had poltergeist encounters, he saw UFOs, he ran into a dog man or a Bigfoot, I don't even know if he would report it back. I don't even know if he can convey his personal experiences there, because there might not be any tangible proof or evidence that he can present to people, and he would wind up looking crazy, the same people that he bemoans and doesn't like engaging with or makes fun of. Now, he says he doesn't really make fun of them. He may not make fun of them per se, but with your experience, Joe, going back and forth, he seems to really kind of be less than diplomatic when it comes to these topics.
No, he's very pushy.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I thought better about even trying to engage with him on Twitter. I may do so only to invite him on the show. I would only invite him on the show, Joe, if you're okay with it, and if Cretchen's okay with us.
I'm totally okay with it. I like talking to people who can be civil, but he's not a very civil person.
Oh, he's not? Okay. Well, then,
I mean,
good.
You listened to him with Weinstein. Do you think he was civil?
I thought he was civil only because it was Eric Weinstein. If it was somebody else that he didn't know or respect, like he doesn't know who we are, and he wouldn't respect us. He would probably listen to one of our clips about Skinwalker Ranch or something like that, and he's like, oh, these guys are stupid assholes. And we are.
Play the clip about the broken phones. We'll have a different take on
it. Sure.
I want to know, like, again, it's like, who is this guy and why does he have this authority? Like, what gives, like, that's why I asked about the Wikipedia page. Who the fuck is he? It's like Klaus Schwab. Like, nobody voted for you, you prick. You know, if Mick West was getting bludgeoned to death by Bigfoot and the dog man and an alien, I'd just piss on him. I don't give a fuck about this guy, and I think he's a dick.
What is your problem?
That's what I would say. I would just ask him all these Alex Jones questions.
What is 2SLGBTQIA+?
Yeah, maybe Alex Jones would do our interview for him.
What sex are you, or what sex are you into? Let's talk about sex.
Thrombocytopenia?
I think we could ruin the entire interview. We can invite him on and just do that stuff. So
just tell him Alex is on the line, just on the camera.
Yeah.
Thrombocytopenia? It is called mitral. Got a bunch of names. Mitral regurgitation. Will somebody look up what trivial mitral regurgitation is? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Ask Mick West. He'll tell you.
We could
just throw all those questions at Mick.
And now Mick West is on Twitter going after Michio Kaku. Going after him about the aliens. And Michio Kaku, astrophysicist, he has been one of the harshest critics to UFO, the UFO topic in general. It's only as of 2017, since the New York Times article came out and the ATIP program, and that the government has been a little bit more honest about this stuff, has the regular, normal, mainstream scientific community have been somewhat open to the topic. And Mick is there to preserve the old guard for whatever reason. Maybe he just doesn't. Maybe it upsets his reality, and he's probably genuinely curious about the topic, I suppose. But it doesn't seem like he goes deep. And I'll take a look at his chemtrail debunking and compare and contrast it with some of the other stuff. Maybe I debunk the debunker.
You're going to double bunk him.
I'm going to double bunk.
Okay.
Early
life.
Or wait, are you going to rebunk? Are you going to rebunk his debunk?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Rebunk.
Well, you got to go at that angle.
Okay. I'll rebunk
Arm to the teeth.
I'll rebunk him.
Here for a rebunking.
Okay, maybe I'll tweet that to him. Come on my show, and we're going to rebunk you.
Come on my show, Joe.
I will say that to him. And he's like, "Who's Joe?"
Sorry, Mick.
Okay. So Gretchen found a Wikipedia. Do you want to go through it?
I'd love to. There's nothing I
A
want
little
more.
bit. Let's just touch on it. We'll
That's why I
just
got
sniff
up
its
this
hair.
morning.
We'll sniff the Wikipedia article's hair.
Just lean over, gently sniff it.
Yes. Okay. So West grew up in the small town of Bingley.
Debunked. Oh, sorry.
Of Bradford. Hey, we know a Bradford.
Yeah.
England. As a child, he was fascinated by the paranormal, UFO, and stories of alien abductions, also believing he had psychic abilities. As he grew older, he came to believe that these phenomena were not real, and instead that there were rational explanations to explain them. I used to believe in all this stuff, and then I stopped believing in all this stuff. And I guess just figuring out why this stuff was wrong became interesting to me. Boy, that is the dumbest quote I've ever heard.
Oh, really?
So he used to believe in stuff that he no longer believes in stuff.
Yeah, there was stuff, and then I believed in it, and then the stuff that I believed in became stuff I don't believe in. So
okay,
that's
an actual quote.
In early adulthood, West found himself using a pre-internet, modern-based bulletin board called FidoNet to argue.
That's not what internet means. That means pre-web, not pre-internet.
Yeah, can we debunk the
I'm going to
wiki
debunk
article?
his claim of that. Yeah.
Let's set fire to this Wikipedia page.
Does it say that he went on FidoNet to argue?
It does. It literally says that.
Oh, so he has a history of being combative and asshole-ish.
Yeah.
Yep. But Joe, that sentence is passive. He found himself he didn't know how he got there. Because he found himself on the bulletin board.
Missing time. He woke up on the internet.
Oh,
And had to start
14
arguing.
seconds are gone. Now I'm on FidoNet.
I hate you. Don't leave me. To argue with people who are using it to spread conspiracy theories. Okay, so all of a sudden he became an authority. So he's a video game programmer, apparently. West co-founded the video game development company Neversoft Entertainment. So he's got a hard-on constantly. Neversoft Entertainment.
You're right, Joe. I did. Jesus.
Boner.
In July 1994 with Joel Jewett.
What kind of games did he put out? Let's evaluate his games.
Let's look up Neversoft Entertainment. Maybe Craig can pull this
Hawk,
up while we...
wasn't it?
Was it?
Didn't they do? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Neversoft is known for Spider-Man, Tony Hawk, and Guitar Hero video game franchises.
Oh.
Okay, so that's pretty cool.
I mean,
He
they're
invented
big
Guitar Hero
franchises.
before the internet.
Okay.
And West was heavily involved in programming the first 5 games of Tony Hawk series. The company was acquired by Activision. So this is how he got his money. Okay.
Mhm. Got bought out. Good for him. I mean, I'm not going to begrudge that.
No.
Name it. I mean, he could have named it Boner Entertainment, but they called it Neversoft. So smart move.
Boner.
It's like Microsoft.
It is.
Tiny Limp.
Tiny soft. Micropenis.com.
Winky dick.
Micropenis 98.
So he's got a lot of money. He's got time. And so he goes on the internet debunking conspiracy theories. And honestly, if I had a lot of money and I could just sit around and do podcasts, I'd do a lot more. And I'd probably put out a lot more BS and a lot more fun entertainment and invent my own conspiracies and have a good time with it.
That's right. Yeah. And when he's not beating his kids, he's neglecting them.
Yes.
No. I worked for a guy one time who bragged about beating his kids. He's like,
seriously?
It's the only way to parent. Yeah. He said it like we would do these happy hours. And he's like, no, man, you got to beat him.
Wow.
He was like the boss.
That's kind of sick.
He got fired.
For beating his kids or for a whole nother topic?
No, he beat us on, in the office. No, he just like there was one day he was drunk at 11 a.m.
Oh,
day drinking.
Did you beat him that day? Did you use like, I can beat you at 10:30?
I avoided him at all costs. Hey, this is the same guy. He's like Mick West in a lot of ways. Like I said, Dan Rather reported that the FBI helped build the bomb that went off in the World Trade Center in 1993. He's like, that's fucking bullshit. What are you fucking talking about? You're crazy. And it's like, okay, all right, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Well, before I invite him on, I'll let you guys know and then we'll have to set something up, and we'll provide a topic of conversation, and we'll have to do our research to. I'll see if we can rebunk the bunker. Yeah. You're some kind of bunko artist.
Hey, and before we leave this topic where you started on Skinwalker Ranch, I just want to say they might as well just say whatever they want. Like intergalactic space gremlins were coming through the sewer pipes, and all of a sudden a dog man emerged from the bushes over there, but it was just a split second, and a UFO appeared right above the sun, and we couldn't tell what kind of shape it was, but then a werewolf howled in the distance. Like, they're just saying gobbledygook.
Bigfoot.
Well,
and their phones are broken.
I am editing these quick clips down as much as I can, so they're not full length, 40-minute shows, and I have to paraphrase a lot of things. So there is a lot more to the show, a lot more interesting presentations than I'm able to do here in our show. So I agree, there's some gobbledygook in there, but I think that Travis Taylor and the team over there, they do as good of a job as they can do to explain some of these weird anomalies. So hopefully they'll explain it all on season 4 in 2023 when all hell breaks loose. And next year
or season 7 of Clarissa explains. What's the name of that show? Clarissa explains. Clarissa explains it all.
Wrong.
Fuck.
Clarissa did explain it all.
She did. She's doing Skinwalker Ranch.
But just think about it. Next year, if we finally do get the answer whether there are interdimensional portals at Skinwalker Ranch, we're going to have the Civil War 2.0. We're going to have interdimensional portals. We're going to have shortages of everything. It's going to be all happening around the world, and no one's going to be able to focus on the fact that, oh, by the way, there are portals. They're going to be too concerned about getting their next meal.
Give us an email at ourbigdumbmouth@gmail.com. Check out obdmpod.com for all the social media and donation links. Be a part of the magic.